beautiful little village surrounded by green hills and flowing rivers, there lived a boy named Jack. Jack was poor, very poor. He lived in a tiny old cottage with his mother, struggling every single day just to survive. The only thing they truly had left was their gentle cow, Milky Way. Milky Way gave them milk every morning and was their only source of food and comfort. But one cold evening, everything changed. The cupboard stood empty, not a single piece of bread remained, no food, nothing. And as Jack looked into his mother's worried eyes, they realized they had no other choice left.
Mother, what's the matter?
We hardly have any food left. Milky White is all we have now. You must take her to the market tomorrow and sell her.
Don't worry, Mother. I'll go to the market tomorrow, and I'll sell Milky White for a good price.
The next morning, Jack sadly took Milky Way and began walking toward the town market. Jack's mother sadly stood at the door of her cottage, sad to let her go. But on the lonely road, he met a strange old man with mysterious eyes. Old man looked at Jack and said,
"Good day, young traveler."
Good day, sir.
Where are you taking that cow?
To the market, to sell her.
The old man thought for a while and said,
I cannot offer you gold, but these magic beans will bring you more than riches.
Beans? For Milky White?
Not ordinary beans, Jack. Magical ones.
Jack couldn't believe his eyes. As he took the beans,
Guard them carefully. Your fortune is closer than you think, Jack.
the old man left after giving Jack the beans.
Mother will be so happy.
Jack smiled excitedly as he placed the glowing beans into his pocket and hurried back home. He was certain his mother would finally be happy. But the moment she saw the beans, her face filled with anger.
Look, Mother. They're magical beans.
Beans? You traded our cow for beans?
The old man said they were magical.
What nonsense is this? What will we do now?
In frustration, she threw them outside the cottage window. The magical beans landed deep into the ground beneath the dark soil. That night, while thunder rolled softly across the hills, Jack lay awake in bed. And somehow, deep inside, he still believed something magical was about to happen. The next morning, Jack opened his eyes sleepily, but suddenly noticed a strange shadow covering his room. Confused, he looked outside the window and froze. Outside the cottage stood an enormous giant beanstalk twisting high into the sky. Jack could hardly believe his eyes. He rushed outside and stared upward in complete amazement as the giant leaves moved gently with the wind.
Jack, be careful. We don't know where it leads.
But Jack's heart raced with excitement instead of fear. Without wasting another second, he grabbed the vines and began climbing, higher and higher above the clouds. The village disappeared beneath him. Finally, Jack reached the top. What he saw left him speechless. Crystal grass sparkled beneath his feet, and giant trees shimmered like diamonds in the sunlight. In the distance stood a massive magical palace surrounded by clouds. Jack slowly walked toward it, and there, standing beside the giant gates, was an enormous woman.
What are you doing here?
Please help me, I'm hungry, and we don't have any food at home.
My husband will come soon. All right, I'll give you food. But you must leave quickly. I don't want my husband to smell a human here.
Feeling sorry for Jack, the giant woman quietly opened the giant gates and let him inside. She took him into a massive kitchen where everything looked enormous beside him.
Hurry up, eat and leave before he comes.
Jack quickly began eating the warm bread and soup placed before him. But suddenly, boom!
Fee, fee, oh, I smell the blood of an Englishman.
The entire castle shook with a loud, thunderous bang as the giant entered the palace carrying huge sacks filled with gold.
Hide! My husband is here!
Terrified, Jack quickly hid behind giant sacks of wheat, barely daring to breathe. The giant woman nervously brought food for her husband while the giant poured shining gold coins onto the table. The giant took heavy, monstrous bites, gulping down all the food in seconds as the castle echoed with his thunderous chewing. Jack carefully peeked through the sacks as the giant greedily counted every coin. After eating, the giant slowly became sleepy. His eyes grew heavy, and finally he fell asleep beside the gold. Jack very quietly stepped out from hiding. He grabbed one heavy sack of gold and started running across the giant kitchen before the giant could wake up. Moments later, Jack climbed onto the giant beanstalk and hurried down through the clouds. Down and down until he finally reached home, and waiting anxiously inside the cottage was his mother.
Look, Mother! Look what I got!
Jack, are we rich now?
For the first time in years, good days finally came into Jack and his mother's lives.
It's been so long since we've eaten like this.
Things are finally changing for us.
They ate warm meals every day, they repaired the cottage roof, and together they smiled while watching the beautiful countryside sunsets. But as weeks slowly passed, the sack of gold began running out. And once again, Jack started thinking about the giant palace above the clouds. His mother warned him not to go back.
Jack, please don't go back up there. We don't know what dangers are waiting for you.
I have to try, Mother.
And the next morning, he climbed the giant beanstalk once again. At the palace gates, the giant woman saw him and sighed with worry.
You must go back before my husband returns, Emma. If he sees you this time, he'll eat you.
The giant woman hid Jack inside a giant copper pot inside the kitchen. Soon, the giant returned once again. After eating his meal, the giant growled loudly.
Woman, bring me the hen!
The giant woman nervously carried a beautiful white hen onto the table. The hen shone with golden glow around it. The giant, in a commanding voice, said, pointing at the hen,
Lay an egg.
Suddenly, the magical hen laid a shining golden egg. Jack's eyes widened in shock. After some time, just like before, the giant slowly fell asleep. Jack quietly climbed out from hiding. Carefully, he picked up the magical hen and began running toward the giant beanstalk. Down through the clouds he climbed once again, lower and lower until he finally reached the cottage. Jack burst through the door excitedly. He saw his mother and said,
Look, Mother! What I got!
Jack, you're fine. I was so worried.
The magical hen filled their home with golden eggs, and Jack and his mother never worried about food anymore. Days passed peacefully once again.
We'll never be poor again, Jack.
But Jack couldn't stop thinking about the giant palace above the clouds, and one evening, Jack made his decision. The next morning, he climbed the giant beanstalk again as storm clouds gathered above the hills. When the giant woman saw him, fear filled her eyes.
If my husband sees you this time, he will not leave you.
Just one last time. After this, I promise I won't come back.
Feeling sorry for him, the giant woman hid Jack once again behind giant sacks of wheat. Soon, the castle shook with thunderous footsteps.
Fee-fi-for-fum. I smell the blood of an Englishman.
But this time, instead of gold or the magical hen, the giant woman brought out something even more magical, a beautiful golden harp with glowing eyes. The harp began playing soft magical music by itself as golden sparkles danced through the air. Jack stared in complete amazement. He had never seen anything so magical before. Slowly, the giant's eyes became heavy once again, and finally, he fell asleep. Jack looked toward the harp. His heart raced. Quietly, he stepped out from hiding and grabbed the magical harp. But suddenly, Magical Harp started shouting, "Master, Master, save me!"
You thief!
The giant's eyes flew open instantly, and the moment he saw Jack holding the harp, his face twisted with fury. Without hesitation, the giant began chasing Jack. Jack ran faster than ever before, across the magical stone road and toward the giant beanstalk. Desperate, Jack climbed downward with the speed of light while the furious giant followed behind him. Finally, Jack reached the ground. His frightened mother rushed outside and handed him a heavy axe. Without wasting a second, Jack swung the axe into the giant beanstalk. Again and again, Jack struck the enormous vines as the giant climbed closer, until finally, the entire giant beanstalk snapped apart. With a deafening roar, the beanstalk collapsed across the hills and the giant came crashing down with it. Jack and his mother had survived, and from that day onward, their lives were filled only with happiness, peace, and love. Their home was filled with warmth, laughter, music, and love. The little cottage that once knew only struggle became a place of happiness and peace. And that is how the story of the boy who climbed the beanstalk became one of the most famous fairy tales ever told.